Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner, your host, and today my guest just last year raised $2 million in private money. Well, my guest today, he's an active investor. He's a JV partner in, listen, over 500 multifamily units and land development amounting to a multi-million dollar portfolio. Now, he's got some very, very sharp skills. He is skilled in acquisition negotiations and multiple creative financing strategies. Now, specifically, he's in charge of the operations of a company called Zontik Ventures. Now, Zontik Ventures is a privately held commercial property investment and asset management company. It was launched to help create long-term wealth in multifamily and commercial real estate for its investors. In just a moment, you're going to meet my special guest, Vlad Arakcheyev, in just a moment, right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Now, Vlad, I almost butchered your last name. I want to make sure I'm getting this right now. Vlad Arakcheyev.
Arakcheyev, exactly. Thanks.
Vlad, welcome to the show.
Awesome to be here. Thanks, Jay.
I'm so excited to have you, Vlad. Now, Vlad, we actually have two segments of our audience. Part of our audience are real estate investors. Some of those are brand new. Some of them are seasoned. Some are doing 1 to 5 deals a year, and they want to raise private money and get private money for the real estate deals. The other part of our audience are interested in being passive investors, right? And might want to invest with you and just sit back, prop up their feet, and, collect nice returns. So first, Vlad, let's start with our audience that's looking to raise private money for their real estate deals. So first of all, tell us, how did you get into raising private money?
Yeah, listen, if you're looking to raise private money today, you should have started 2 years ago. It's all about relationships. And the way it works is there is no quick way about it. When I started, I was asking my friends and my family, and not a single person invested with me. Because frankly, they didn't know me as a real estate investor, as a multifamily investor. So it takes a long time to nurture and really speak with people and connect with them. Ultimately, they're not investing in your deal, they're investing in you. They have to trust you as a professional, as an operator, as a person that knows what to do with their money, right? Because like I said, I went to my friend that I know him for 30 years and I know he has money. And I asked him for $50,000 for a great deal with great returns, by the way. And he said no. He made up some weird excuse. And now I understand why, because he's like, well, I don't know you as the real estate investor. I know you as a friend, as I was a graphic designer for past 10 years. And he's like, why would I invest with you? Right? So really the thing that you're looking for is create trust and of course credibility. One of the big things that you should present yourself as is a credible investor. You should know where you're investing, and also you have to be able to answer all the questions that the investors have. So one of the things that if you're looking to raise now, yeah, be ready, and also don't throw out all this terminology out there, because typically when you're speaking with investors, they don't care about IRRs and NOIs and things like that. Most of them don't even know what they are, what they mean. Because my typical investor is an attorney, IT person, a lawyer, right? So they don't know this terminology. So you have to be able to explain it to them in simple language. So if you can explain it to a 5-year-old, that's how you should explain it to your investors. So
Vlad, your story that you just shared on starting out on raising private money reminds me, and I've learned it so many times and I know it. And you know, the worst time to be trying to raise private money is when you need it for a deal.
it's one of the, I mean, because people feel it, right? They feel it. They feel that desperation. It's like when you're desperate and you're trying to get a girl or a guy, and they feel it, but you're like, yeah, I'm all right. Then they were like, oh wow, I should really be talking to him. So it's kind of the same thing. Don't be desperate, and at the same time, be confident in your skills and your deal.
Absolutely. And you know, there's always going to be deals, always going to be deals. And I teach and I practice the money comes first. Focus on raising the money. So, you know, I've got $8.5 million, Vlad, and I've never asked anybody for money. And people ask me all the time, they say, Jay, how in the world have you got all that private money and you never ask anybody for money? And it's real simple. I put on my teacher hat and I teach people what is private money, how they can get rates of return safely and securely. So I teach them what self-directed IRAs are. You know, my wife, Carol Joy, and I, right now, we've got 47 private lenders that are funding our real estate deals. And you know what, Vlad? Not one of them had ever heard of private money. They had never heard of self-directed IRAs and how they can use not only their investment capital, but they can also use their retirement funds that they can transfer over to a self-directed IRA company and then loan that money out to us. And like, you know, you said another very, very important word, and that's the word trust, right? So like they're investing in you. They're really not investing in the deal. They're investing in you and your knowledge. And so again, I put on my teacher hat. I teach them my private lending program. And so now it's not about chasing. It's not about begging. It's not about selling. You know, Vlad, the old traditional way of borrowing money, you went to the bank or the mortgage company, you got on your hands and knees, you put your hands underneath your chin, and you said, please fund my deal. Please fund my deal, right? But not in this world. In this world of private money, it's all about not asking for a mortgage, but it's all about offering a mortgage. And as you say, you know, like one thing that I learned the hard way long ago, I started raising private money for my deals back in 2009. And you know, if I talk about private money and this particular deal that I've got that's under contract, without even trying, I'm sounding desperate. I'm, you know, and I'm not even trying to sound desperate, but I am. So we separate the conversations of teaching private money, what it's all about. And then when we have a deal to fund, I've never even pitched a deal. Now, not like you. You're into the multifamily. You're into like 500 units of multifamily. I focus on single family houses. And so when I've got a single family house to fund, I simply call them up, tell them I got good news. I can now put your money to work. I've got a house in Newport with an after repaired value of $200,000. The funding is $150,000. I know they got it because they already told me. And I let them know we're going to close next week and they need to wire their funds by next week. So nowhere in that conversation am I asking. I'm actually serving them because I taught them about it. And now I'm able to put their money to work. So when you started raising private money, so do you raise private money? I would assume you raise private money for syndication or for a fund, right?
It's a syndication. Yeah.
Yeah, syndication. So when you're raising money from your investors for the syndication, how do you like to start? And I get this question all the time. And this is the same, whether you're raising money for syndication or you're raising money for a one-off, what we call on a single family house. How do you like to start a conversation with a potential private lender that you haven't talked with it about before?
Sure. Yeah. It should be very natural. Instead of just going into a pitch and be like 1980s, you know, car salesman, like, oh, look at this engine. No, you just going natural and say, hey, listen, this is what I do, and just have a conversation. Not a single time throughout the first conversation, I pitch a deal or say, hey, listen, you should invest with me or something like that. If they ask, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, I buy large multifamily, and we buy it using a syndication model. I don't even use the word syndication. I use the word group because it's easier to kind of picture and imagine. Syndication, it might be one of that lingo that a lot of people don't know. So and they're like, oh, how does that work? So in many cases, I just teach people on how it works, because in many cases when I say, hey, listen, we purchased $50 million apartment complexes, they're like, whoa, how is that possible? How can you do this? So it creates interest. But then at the same time, I back away and I say, hey, listen, a lot of my investors reinvest with me because they see the potential and they see the safety here when it comes to large multifamily. So some spots open up, but a lot of my previous investors reinvest. And that's it. And I ended with that. And I may be able to ask, hey, listen, if you want to receive my newsletter, receive it. It's not a pitch fest or anything, just a few things that are happening in real estate that I think are really cool. And that's it. That's how we leave it off. And most likely in a week or so, I schedule another call to kind of, not promote myself, but the story. What am I all about? And how do I start? And things of that nature. So that's exactly how I go about it, without actually pitching, but just telling a story of potential profits, or maybe tax savings, or maybe lean on something that they might be looking for. So that's how I kind of start about it.
Yeah, I love it, Vlad. You said a couple of things here that are just really, really important. First of all, you said the word story. People buy into stories, right? They can relate to the story. And speaking of that, do you ever, I know some people do, some people don't, do you ever post on social media, quote unquote, stories of like, hey, here's a complex that we recently, invested in, and here's the story, and here's, how it's progressing and all that. Do you ever do like case stories on social media?
You know what? All the time. Social media, a lot of people don't utilize it. We do. Social media is free advertising, and you should take advantage of social media. In addition, posting pictures is one thing, but posting video is huge. But because people like to see video, especially shorts. We all busy, right? We don't have time to watch, 30-minute videos sometimes. But short 60-second stories of something really cool that happened, like I'll give you an example. Recently, we were doing an upgrade to the outside of our apartment complex in Kansas City. So we did the before and after. That video got so many hits. It's unbelievable, because you know what? It's not only interesting to an investor, just because it's really nice to see the vision of what it was before and the potential of what it is now. So
I love it. I love it. And I love the before and afters. So how often do you post on social media for, people to see what's going on?
sure, yeah, I try to post at least 3 times a week. I do Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and now YouTube and TikTok. So it all depends on type of media you post, but I try to go 3 times a week, even sometimes more, because not only I don't post just real estate stuff. Like I go for an appointment or something to see on my motorcycle. And I'm like, oh my God, look at this. I just took a beautiful ride on the motorcycle. So it kind of goes, hand in hand together, not just leaning on real estate and me just being like a robot, but just being a person. Hey, listen, I took a nice bike ride. Look at this beautiful view here. And here I am at the real estate appointment. So this type of stuff, I try to keep it fun and engaging for people. So
Absolutely. I love it. Well, Vlad, let's go ahead and give everybody, our audience, those people that want to raise private money, I've got a free gift right here for our audience that wants to raise private money and get it fast for your real estate deals. You can download this private money guide for free at www.jconnor.com/money guide. And that's with an ER, not an OR. So that's www.jayconner.com/money guide. jayconner.com/money guide. Download this for free, and this will get you on the fast track to getting private money for your real estate deals. Now, Vlad, let's change gears here and let's talk about the Zontik Ventures. What in the world is Zontik Ventures?
It's just
But Zontik sounds like some Russian wrestler that's like going to tear you apart in the ring. I'm not sure.
it's a funny story. Zontik just means umbrella in Russian, but how we came up with it is because whatever you kind of want, it's like almost like a karma type of thing. It's a play on type of thing. So if you put out good energy out there, good energy will come back to you. So Zontik kind of is good energy when you just kind of, if you want a good day without any rain and you really, really want it, you will get it, right? So it's kind of the same thing. Like it's going to cover you and it's going to cover your, your investments or your real estate, or it can be anything. Absolutely. So it's really kind of good energy. So kind of a play on words.
Gotcha. So your company is zontikventures.com, www.zontikventures.com. So Zontik Ventures is where someone can come and invest with your company and be a passive investor or a passive private lender, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Even though we don't publicly advertise the deals on our site, we just literally want to have a conversation with you. We're not here to sell anything. In many cases, I just try to educate and teach people about other investment opportunities, because most people, what do they know? 401ks, right? Savings accounts, stocks. That's it. They don't know anything else, or not being told. So when I tell people that you can invest your 401k and move it into self-directed IRA and invest in a syndication, or do a 1031 into a syndication, it kind of opens their mind. They didn't even know it's possible. So I literally just want to have a conversation and show the opportunities that multifamily investing has. So absolutely, it's just I'm there to have a conversation, and maybe you're looking to subscribe to my newsletter. So my newsletter is pretty cool too. I keep it very light, incredibly light, super fun. Whatever I come across, I kind of post it on there, and people seem to enjoy reading it. So yeah.
So, where can people go to subscribe to your newsletter?
Yeah, it's on the bottom of my site, zontikventures.com, and all the way on the bottom, it just says subscribe, and you just click there, put your email and name, and that's it. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to overload you with information and things like that. Just, once a month, it's something fun. In addition, a really cool book or a podcast that I listen or read, I just put there on the bottom in the media section. I think people like it. Like I'm ready to. I read something really interesting, something about underwriting, and I'm like, people might like that. So I just kind of put it out there, and people might just check it out. It's not about me, just something really interesting that I read or saw.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, what kind of feedback? First of all, how long have you had the Zontik Ventures opportunity for your investors?
Yeah, sure. It's been not too long, because we've been doing it without the company, right? We thought that we can raise money just me by myself, but multifamily is a team sport, right? I can't do it by myself. There's a team behind working with us. Approximately 12 people in Texas. We invest in Houston, Dallas. We also invest in Kansas. And last two investments we've done in the Carolina market, in Boone and Columbia. Those are really, really nice market. They have a lot of growth opportunity. And in my opinion, one of the safest. Down there where the Sunbelt area, maybe Midwest, you have huge growth and it's landlord friendly. That's why we like those opportunities. So we've been doing it kind of all by ourselves, right? Without realizing that the power is in the team. So we combined our forces, and now we've been doing it for nearly 2 years, I believe. Yeah, and we have a team in Texas. There's another team in the Kansas market. We've been taking down deals, and even in this environment, people are, I would say, holding back or thinking there's a lot of, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, the rates and everything. But ultimately, if it's cash flowing, I don't care about anything else because it's cash flowing. It's producing money back to my investors. My investors are happy. We're doing monthly distributions starting day one, and everybody's winning.
I love it. Yeah, speaking of Boone, North Carolina, I love Boone, North Carolina. My wife and I live down on the coast, on the beaches of North Carolina. But my dad is up in a small community right outside of Boone. And oh, it's just absolutely gorgeous up there. Love the area. Love the area.
It
So
is, yeah. It's beautiful. We can't complain at all.
I can see why you are investing up there. What type of returns is your goal for your investors to get?
Yeah, typical returns. I'm just going to speak about the deal that we closed 30 days ago. It's in South Dallas. We were targeting 19% return over 5 year. It's a 5 year hold, and it's like I said, it's paying out cash on cash immediately of 7%. So just hypothetically, on $100,000 investment, you're looking at like $8,000 a year, and then of course there's a huge return when we sell the property. In addition, we do cost segregation, so we depreciate the property, and you get the K1 forms at the end of the year, and most of it, most of that gain is written off by that depreciation. But speak with your CPA. But that's it. Yeah. So we do cost segregation on all our properties. We depreciate them, and it's a win-win for everyone.
For sure. Since you have been working with private lenders and investors over the years, what is some of the feedback that you've received from your private lenders that tells you why they love doing business with you?
You know, one of the big things, some people cannot invest in stocks, for example, right? So they have, they have a very sensitive type of work and they just can't invest in stocks. So their money is stuck in like savings account, and savings is not paying anything. So people like, oh my God, this is awesome. I didn't know it's possible. Look at this. And I can produce these type of returns. In addition, a lot of people that invest in 401k, they can't touch that money until they turn 60. So when you invest in a syndication, in 5 years, they're looking to double that money. So they're like, oh my God, why didn't anybody tell me this? I'm like, well, here you go. But so the funniest things I've been when I'm speaking with people, they go, is that for real? How is this possible? And I try to explain, listen, you see syndication every single day. And they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, look, when you go to the movies, right? In the beginning, you see this beginning. It says like Sony, MGM, Paramount. I'm like, those are the companies that got together, pooled their money together to make this movie. It's a movie syndication. This is exactly what it is. So we do the same thing, but with apartments. So there's no difference. We pool our money, active investors, passive investors' money, pool it together, and we buy an apartment complex, and then we bring up the value, sell it for a profit. There you go. Exactly as a movie syndication.
That's a great analogy, Vlad. I've never heard real estate or commercial syndication compared to the making of a movie,
Yeah.
but it actually is a great example. It's a great analogy.
Yeah, because people see it. They might be afraid of a word syndication, and it's not. If you think about it, it's investing a group of people investing their money together, pooling their money together to buy something, and the asset is there. You can technically go there, you can touch it, and be like, "Yep, I own this." That's
Well,
it's perfect.
let's go back for a minute and let's speak to our audience that are real estate investors, or they want to be real estate investors getting their first deal, or they're wanting to get that first private money lender. If you knew back when you started what you now know today, what would you do differently? Biggest lessons learned.
You know what? I would start sooner and faster. Do not be afraid to go big. That's number one. Because the only thing that's limiting you is this, your mind. If you don't know how to do something, find somebody that does. That's all. Let's say you don't have the money, find somebody with the money and just join forces together. It's all about the team here. And also, one thing that I would always say, learn sales and negotiations. Nobody teaches you this. Nobody is teaching you how to ask a proper question and really get to the bottom of why a person is selling or what are they really looking for. And I'll give you an example. So when we were buying a property in Kansas City, the seller did not want to speak with me, right? But I didn't know. I thought, I was like, why not? Well, he didn't believe me at first, right? I'm calling here from New Jersey, buying a property in Kansas City, and he didn't believe me. But we figured out what it was. He didn't want to sell to anyone except for a local person. He wanted to stay. Because he's 70 years old and he's like, I care about the community. I want this property to go to somebody that's local. And my partner, Joe, he's local. He lives in Kansas City for like 20 years. So it's a win-win. So it's a correct question you have to ask to get to the bottom of why are they really looking to sell or what are they trying to get out of. So yeah, negotiation and sales, check it out.
Great advice, Vlad. And so one more time, Vlad's website is www.zontikventures.com. And be sure and get on over there and check out his newsletter and learn how you can get high rates of return safely and securely in the world of syndication. Vlad, thank you so much for taking time to join me here on Raising Private Money.
Of course. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And please reach out. I'm here to pass on to what I've learned. And if you're looking for connection, I'll connect you with somebody who I know, or at least that can help you if I cannot. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Vlad. Well, there you have it, my friend. Another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. And in order for us to continue to keep having amazing guests like Vlad, we need your help. Be sure and subscribe and like. And if you're listening on iTunes, be sure and follow. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and click that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming amazing episodes of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, the host of your show, wishing you all the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.